AncientAlbatross here again with the Cypher Unlimited crew. We have our usual suspects of AD or Alphadean. We have Spiggs, 18 or Anthony. And just as a quick reminder, if you haven't already, be sure to follow us here on Twitch or go subscribe to us on YouTube. It really helps our channel out a ton. But Dean, what are we doing here tonight?
Oh man, tonight's gonna be nice. We're gonna get a little gaming in tonight. We gonna be playing something new, something different. We're gonna show what Cypher's capable of with this particular thing by none other than Andrew Marlowe at Marlowe House, Blood and Chrome, which is basically a cyberpunk edition setting, if you will, for Cypher system. So, Andrew, want to give us a little bit more background, buddy?
Sure. So Blood and Chrome is cyberpunk. I like to call it in the blurb that we've been doing technopunk. And right now we have 3 supplements available, which I think the boys are going to link in chat at some point. Oh, it's already linked. So there are 3 supplements over on DriveThruRPG via the Cypher Creator Program. I have one for types, one for descriptors, and one for foci. And tonight we're going to be playing with some of the stuff that's in those now and some stuff that is coming from Marlowe House, because we're not done with Blood and Chrome. So buckle up. We've got some new stuff tonight. We've got an in-progress adventure that we're going to go ahead and take out for a spin. And why don't you guys introduce your characters a little bit so that, I can butt in and talk about them too.
Yeah. All right, well, let's start at the top. Al, why don't you start us out?
All right, I can start us off. So I am playing...
Hey, should we do guests first? Start off with Mike?
Actually, you're right. Mike, tell them who you are. That sounds good. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm Spencer Graves, gene-sculpted fixer who works the back alleys. And my name's Mike. You see me on the CU server, Stormbringer. Peace.
I
We
get
love that guy. Stormbringer is awesome. Al?
All right, yeah, so I'll go next then. We'll go with me then. I'm playing Viper Sims. I am a risk-taking razor who defies gravity. Basically, my character in this setting is a streamer who streams when he messes with the man, trying to get at the man any way he can. The big corps, all those guys, just destructive all around to their dealings and businesses. And he streams it all and just hit his 1 millionth view, so he's doing pretty good.
Yeah. So a special note here, you're a sim streamer, which means that your camera is wired into your body, and all of your experiences, the people who are watching you feel like they're experiencing. This is a cyberpunk staple that goes back to William Gibson, and it was something that I wanted to capture in this particular game. So you'll be not just streaming your video, you stream your existence.
That is really cool. I dig that.
I am playing Connor Bear Wright. I am a nomadic courier who is wired for transport.
Sweet.
I guess I'm the getaway driver.
Getaway, get to, transporter, couriers do all that and more. If you've been watching the Jason Statham franchise, Transporter, Baby Driver, any of these things where you've got underworld guy who's doing the driving, that's what you're doing. But it's a little bit more than that. You happen to own basically a flying cargo hauler. It's got think of a modern ambulance with the curves, with the blockiness of it curved in and made a little bit more fluid, and then mounted on top to scale, you have 4 rotors like the drones that buzz around people's neighborhoods.
Yes,
And
my signature vehicle.
that one, and then you've got another one too, because you're a courier. You've got to have multiple sets of wheels. You happen to have a vintage motorcycle.
Ooh, nice.
But vintage for Cyberpunk is not necessarily vintage for today.
Yeah.
So it is actually an electric cycle. It is silent. It's like a ghost. So maybe not the coolest as far as like what we're used to, but it's kind of a nod to the possibilities of technology.
That sounds
Hey.
awesome.
And I guess then I get to be the last guy in the totem pole. I am Sawyer. I'm a bleeding edge technophile that has a silver arm. And me and Al are connected. I'm his half brother. And even though he's older, I have to try to keep him out of trouble.
And he's very good at getting me out of trouble. I rely on it.
Sounds
All
awesome.
righty.
Excited.
You guys have had a chance to kind of look at your sheets. A lot of the stuff comes right out of the Cypher, the regular Cypher rules. There are a few new pieces sprinkled in there, things that show up in the 3 existing Blood and Chromes, and then there's a lot of stuff that also is kind of new. One of you, I think it is the Fixer, has something that we hadn't really touched on any of the supplements. You have an artifact. Am I right in remembering that it was the Fixer that had that?
Yeah, I have an artifact, yes. I hadn't noticed that until you told me. Thank you.
It is actually a BioWare implant. It is rechargeable in that you could go get the surgery to get them to put new pheromones into its reservoirs, but until that's done, once it depletes, it's just taking up space in your body. So it is possible that.
Also, it's also worth mentioning that we should set this at the beginning. This is a tier 3 adventure.
Oh yeah. It is a tier 3, very open world adventure. So why don't we get into it?
All right.
So we begin in future Cincinnati. It happens to be my hometown in real life, and I figured I would go ahead and set this up. When we think of cyberpunk cities, we typically think of San Francisco and Blade Runner, Night City in either William Gibson's works or in Cyberpunk 2020, where in all these cases, Seattle, whatever, where the cities are sprawling out into the distance, and they have these mega structures everywhere. There's an enormous skyline, and everything is cramped and tight and packed in. Cincinnati is not super dissimilar from that, but it is shorter, smaller. It's not run by the corporations. It's more of an outpost for the road types, and it is the kind of the landing place for a lot of the Greenbelt production. So it's never had the push to go real big, and with the free families kind of squatting in resistance to the idea of a corporate takeover of the area. It's become its own very fascist, interclosed community or series of communities. It's a divided city. Cincinnati sits on the river between Ohio and Kentucky, and a lot of the city actually overflows into the northern Kentucky region, and it goes up north towards Columbus and Dayton. But as it does this, it kind of spreads out, becomes fractionalized, broken into pieces, and each of the free families controls a portion of the city. So as we pick up, our heroes have been kind of eking out livings in the various places. There are mobsters, underworld people, all sorts of forces at work against them, for them, and they are not monetarily in the best of shape necessarily. Some of them are in debt. Some of them are in a lot of trouble. And this could be their chance tonight to get out of some of that trouble. So, Michael, your character, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about what your character is trying to do tonight?
I've got payback on my mind. And you guys are just the people to help me do it. You chooms, together we can go right to the top. But first, I need to get some payback.
Okay. So, right to the top in this case means a lot of money. And an anonymous contact, probably working for one of the corporations, has requested a meeting. And you managed to gather the chooms, as you put it, to meet you at the contact point, which happens to be an upscale restaurant in the city center. This particular upscale restaurant has a commanding view of the city skyline and the river, because you're actually on the Kentucky side, so you can see up into the bulk of the downtown region. You guys all arrive at the restaurant, probably fairly much together, given that you have a transport person. You guys probably dock on the upper landing for the restaurant and walk in. The large seating area is completely empty. They've even managed to remove most of the tables so that there is only a single table at the center of the room, so nothing obscures the view as the dining room rotates. There's a single man in a pinstripe suit, immaculately tailored, probably concealing a firearm, but you couldn't find it if you tried. And he walks towards you, extends his hand. Spencer, I presume.
That's right.
You can call me Trevor. Our hostess, Jane Doe, will be arriving shortly. She's just been delayed with other business. If you all would care to order, And he motions to the table. You can take your seats and make yourselves comfortable. I have taken the liberty of ordering some wine, and you can see at various spots there are champagne bottles and other wine bottles sitting at within comfortable reach on the table already.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wave at everybody and go, "Take a seat, Chooms. This is only the beginning." I take a sit down.
I definitely would be reaching for one of the wine glasses and whatnot, and I'm definitely streaming this. I mean, I don't know if he has like services that would render my streaming capabilities like null or something.
It doesn't seem to.
I would definitely be streaming this if I can. And as soon as I pick up the wine glass, I'm like, guys, and this is like verbally to the stream. It's like, guys, we're about to have the best wine, the best flank steak we've ever had, and I take a sip of the wine. I don't know what it tastes like. I assume very good because we're into this upscale place.
It is upscale wine. It is definitely a massively, premier vintage.
So the viewers all taste that then once I take a sip. Anybody viewing, I have let's say 355 viewers right now. They all get a sip of this very expensive wine. There's this chat log going, "Oh my god, this is amazing! I would never taste this if it wasn't for you. Thank you." And I said, just wait for the steak, and I go and sit down.
Okay.
Connor would be he's wearing Connor's African American male with dreads that are tied tightly into a bow. Into like a ponytail, and he has oversized headset, like similar to like something like what I would have, but it's not connected to anything. And you see like a little light, like there's music being played on it. He waves his hand, and the light goes out, and he pulls back the headset, and he sits down and moves the glass away with the wine away from his body, and turns around to the person closest to him. "I never drink and drive." And he just sits back and leans back in his chair.
I look over at Viper. Hey, you shouldn't have that on right now. We get ready to talk business. You can let everybody watch the job, but you can't let them watch the details.
It's cool, man. I got the stealth on. No one's gonna know.
Make sure it's on. I know how you get.
I double check my settings to make sure my stealth recording's on.
Okay.
And they're on, unless the GM says otherwise. But yeah, it's on.
That's fine.
So basically, you see that guy, big guy, with a red cybernetic arm that matches his, shirt that he's wearing. It's a vintage T-shirt that says GM Roulette on it. And he sits back, and you very calmly.
So, as you all kind of settle in, there's like a flicker of light in the air, and a slight projection light kind of streams down, and a 3D hostess appears in front of you. "Can I take your orders?" In a voice not unlike Siri.
I definitely chime in the quickest. It's, "Hey, yo, let me get the best flank steak you got. Medium rare, please."
"Flank steak, medium rare. Excellent choice, sir." And she turns around the room to everybody else as well. Basically, anything you guys can imagine to order, they will deliver.
I order a complete seafood, platter, salmon, calamari, all the goodies, a lobster tail,
And egg rolls.
I will order fish and chips with tartar sauce and ketchup on the side.
Okay.
Filet, baked potato, and just a very nice, neat salad.
All
Vinaigrette.
excellent, all excellent selections. And then she vanishes. So about the time the food is starting to be served, you see lights in the distance getting closer. And again, what appears in this case to be very similar to what you guys pulled up in, except that it's, instead of being 4 props, it is 2, and they're out on wings. It kind of looks sort of like one of those slick, helicopters of the 80s, that kind of like a very, very retro look, but instead of having 1 prop, it's got 2 on the wings, and it comes and it lands or hovers. A ramp descends, and you can see an attractive woman in silhouette step down out of the aircraft and starts walking towards you. The gentleman in the pinstripe suit gets up to go meet her. They have a very quiet conversation in the door to the outside, the vestibule area. The vestibule closes. The helicopter plane thing takes off, and she steps in, sunglasses on, even though it's the middle of the night.
Woman after my own heart.
And first intrusion of the evening is for Michael.
I'll take it.
Okay. So as they come in, she takes off her glasses, and it's Evelyn Soul, your one-time protege, who is pretty much responsible for tanking your entire career.
So I look around at the others. I kind of slide my hand down like I was going to pick up a weapon. And instead I stand up and I go, so you really think we're going to be able to do business?
Oh, darling, it's not as if it was anything personal. You taught me it yourself. Come on, give me a hug.
That's not happening. We're no
Crosses
chum
her.
anymore. That was cold ass shit you pulled.
And she smiles and shakes her head. Gentlemen, I see he has assembled a top flight crew. This should be very, very productive evening. How is the steak? She looks at you, Viper.
I'm just, the whole time they were interacting, I was watching, but I was quietly watching but eating. I'm chewing it like, this is the best steak I've ever had. It's amazing. And I just go back to eating. I'm not commenting on their interaction at all, just the steak.
Right. She's like, that's real cow.
Ooh, deluxe.
So, shall we? And
Wait a minute. Did you just say that was real cow?
yeah,
I should have fucking ordered the steak.
there's still time, my dear. There's still time. Trevor, my boy, if you wouldn't mind bringing over the console, bring it here. And Trevor wheels over basically what looks to be a briefcase on legs with wheels. He kind of like trundles it over. And he snaps it open, which reveals a 3D holo projector. And she says, okay, gentlemen. So, I think it is worth your time. So we'll have a conversation here. And since we're going to be spending your time, not only am I going to be providing dinner, you will each get $1,000 in national script. Not corporate money. This is money you can spend anywhere. So, if you have cred sticks, you can slot them into the device now, and I will make sure it hits your accounts.
Put like over my watch or whatever.
Before,
Yeah.
before we agree on prices.
This is a meeting fee. This is just for your time this evening.
Very good.
Other fees. The other fees are negotiable.
Yeah,
Very good.
she's gonna pay.
Yeah, I have
Don't
my
worry.
whatever payment reader or cred stick or whatever implanted in my palm, so I just like wave my hand over the console. Ooh.
Okay.
Same thing with me. I have a barcode right over underneath my wrist, and when I scan it over the barcode, normally it'll blink green like you're intaking money. Mine's blinks red, as in as soon as I'm paid, it's being deducted to someone else.
Yeah, you see me, I see the cred stick reader, and you see him raise his right red arm. He goes like this, and you see like a little iridescent color. Thanks, lady.
Excellent. So, with that in mind, I do hope that this also buys some discretion. But I would understand if in time you decided to divulge your activities. But for the evening, I would appreciate discretion.
As soon as she mentions discretion, Viper like gets a really serious look on his face. Yes, of the utmost.
And that's really when he does it, I'd look over at Viper, give him that look, that knowing look.
I just give him,
So
like, a hand motion.
you give him that knowing look, and we come to the second intrusion of the night. Have you turned off your feed?
No, my thing's been going. That's
That's what I thought. So
Who got the XP for the first intrusion?
Mike,
Mike,
who did you give
share.
the other XP to?
I'll give it to Al.
All right. And I'll take it, and then I'll take the second one. I'm assuming that this second intrusion is aimed at me.
yes, it is.
All right, and then I'll give my other XP to Sawyer, because I assume he's going to need it to get me out of trouble.
Okay. So eventually, chat goes nuts. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? That
Wait,
was a
what
great steak. What happened? I was hoping to finish it.
Did,
I wanted leftovers.
am I getting like reports that like my feed is cutting off?
Oh yeah.
It's off.
Oh. So I reply, I don't know if I can mentally type in the chat, it's like, sorry guys, just technical difficulties, we'll be right back. And I look at over at Sawyer, and I have like a very concerned look on my face, like I'm like, my I got caught face. You see that? Does Evelyn say anything to me at all, or
Not a thing.
Sawyer just smiles at you.
I don't mention it at all anyways that it's off. It's
Right.
just my I got caught face.
So she sits down at one of the empty chairs. So let's talk brass tacks, shall we? And above, and are you guys able to see Roll20 at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna post this in a Roll20. If you can go ahead and share with our audience what I'm about to share with you, that picture I sent you earlier can go to the audience. You guys, come on. Well, Roll20 is not cooperating with me.
Our viewers can see the image now, though.
All right, you guys should be able to see it now too.
Yep. Oh, at
So-
least I can see it.
It gave me the option to show it to players, so
Yep.
I'm hoping you guys can see it. This is the Osprey Vanguard facility. It's a research facility in just north of the city. It is an arcology home to 30,000 residents and employees, I think, thereabouts. At any rate, it's basically its own city within the area. I don't know if you're familiar with corporate arcologies, but they're largely self-contained. This one is focused on research, although not everybody who works there works in research. As I said, they're pretty much self-contained cities. So you'll find people who work in the shops and provide entertainment. But as you can see, most of that is going to be, and she highlights the bottom of the building, and it kind of like goes to like a neon blue. This section here is the public access, and it's probably maybe the first 10 stories of the building. This is the mall level. This is where family members who are not living in the arcology can come to visit. There are parks, recreational facilities, shopping districts, eating, restaurants, entertainment, things like that. Just above that, and then she highlights this next section, which is probably 15 stories. And this thing is massive. Getting a sense of scale from it. The arcology, if you've lived here long enough, you probably are at least roughly familiar with it. It takes up some of you guys are from New York. It's about 4 times the size that, or about 2 times the size that the Twin Towers were.
Is this a holographic image that's posed in front of us, correct?
Yes.
So Connor would turn around and say, do you have a schematic of the entrances, exits, emergency egress? A schematic of the building I could pass?
She holds up her hand. She's like, in due time. This region here is the living facilities, and then we start to get into corporate offices. What we're interested in, and she points to the Eastern Tower. This area here is, and it like rotates so that the tower is in front and facing you. So as you're looking at that image, it's the kind of most forward facing tower. This is Tower 3. Tower 3 is the primary research facility. Hold on one second. My screen has done bad things. So on the 119th floor of Tower 3, that's a mere 6 floors from the roof here. Is the vault. On this floor, and she actually shows you on a separate hovering map, which I don't have the diagram for, but you really kind of don't need it. There is a diagram of the floor itself, which is a labyrinthine schematic of the floor. This is and sort of like at the very center of this little labyrinth of hallways and things is what appears to be like server rooms and things like that. There's in the center of the server rooms a locked vault area that has sort of like the whole, big wheel vault, old school, sort of mechanical vault. And she says in here is where they keep their most protected pieces of equipment that they're working on. Now, Osprey Vanguard is predominantly a banking concern, and you wouldn't think that they would need much in the way of research and development, but that's not always accurate. This here is a passcode generator, and on that area where the map is, it kind of dissolves, and a device that looks like an oversized watch appears. This is their passcode generator. It is a device. It does rotating passcodes, and it can synchronize hourly changes. She said, scratch it. She's like, this is the prototype AI cryptography encryption key. It's sort of a rotating passcode generator for pretty much everything that Osprey Vanguard does. It was recently finished and put to use almost immediately. They've begun selling its services to a vast number of clients worldwide. And your employer wants it. They would like to reverse engineer it. This, taking it from Osprey Vanguard, will put their R&D department back probably about 3 years in development, and us, or your employer, ahead just a little bit. Certainly evens the playing field out.
One question. So if they develop this thing and built it, what, they don't have schematics, they don't have a way to redevelop it, they only have one? It doesn't make any sense. Anybody worth their salt, if they build something, should be able to build it again, right?
Let's just say that there's cutting edge technology with very old roots.
So we're going to just take the device, or are we going in to get all the research and development documentation as well?
We're more concerned with the device. If you would like to get the rest of the research and development, we could probably be talked into a bonus. But it is very important that this not get out. Trevor, be a dear. And Trevor comes back in again from the other side of the room, and he presents you all with a small cooler size box, like a small lunch cooler. It's got clasps on it, and he just kind of sets it down on the table in front of you.
One in front of each of us, or one for all?
Just one on the table.
I'd reach out and flip it open.
Okay. Inside, it is the very device that you are looking at on the screen.
So in other words, you want us to do a replacement, huh?
Yes. This one is just a little faulty. They'll assume that it doesn't work, that something broke. They'll spend a lot of time trying to figure it out. And while they're trying to figure it out, we'll be putting theirs to use.
So what kind of security are we looking at?
So she smiles again. At this point, we're going to kind of break it down. I'm going to give you some of the details and let you guys kind of make up your plan and see what you want to do. What they basically tell you is that you're going to swap out this device for the one in question. The safe is a high grade but old-fashioned safe, and so it is off any sort of grids and is completely mechanical, for obvious reasons. When you're talking about a very technologically based society, it is a little odd that it steps back so far, but not uncommon. The device, if you pass it around the table to kind of take a look at it, has a number of oddities about it. There's a lot of writing on it that is not in English, like way more than you would expect, particularly as you start to open some of the flaps and adjustments. Now, it may be part of like whatever cipher system it uses. But it has, inside, when you like lift up the lid on it, because like I said, it's sort of like a watch. It's got a band to it, and it's got a big face, for lack of a better word. That face opens up, and it opens up in a couple of different ways. One opens up it opens up at one layer, just sort of like a pocket watch, and then at the next layer down, it opens up again, kind of like Beetle's wings. And then once you get to the inside layer of it, it has hands that move around, and as they move around, it looks like there are digital panels that would change numbers and have codes on them.
All right. So
it is like ridiculously over engineered.
Is there a data port on it?
There is.
Since she said theirs was slightly, flawed, whatever, I'm gonna jack in and see what else I can learn.
All right, so you go to do that, and you notice right away that it looks like this one's been burnt out. You like turn it over to look to see where the data port is, and you can actually see a black mass on the inside, and it does smell a little bit of like burnt plastic and that decayed computer
Wires,
smell.
burnt electrical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is that a safety precaution that you can't jack these things? Is that the case?
No, that is just how we're going to cover its inoperability.
Very good.
So
look around the table.
So the rest of the presentation shows you the building, and like I said, it's the 119th floor on Tower 3, which means most of that 119 floors is obviously in the bulk of the building. It is 6 floors from the roof of the building and where dirigibles can dock. It is 2 floors above the aerobus hangars, which are not dissimilar from the aerobus that Bear uses, although they're probably much newer and more up to date. Security is pretty tight. There is a passcode that synchronizes hourly to change docking access to the aerobus hangars. and it uses not this sort of technology, but an older rotating technology. The only blimps that dock with the building are cargo blimps that are Osprey Vanguard cargo blimps from the corporation itself. There is access to the grand lobby at the downstairs portion. The downstairs does extend up, like I said, it's, basically 10 or 15 stories from the downstairs in the public area, but that still leaves you with like 109 floors to cover through security. Over 100,000 people live and work within the facility, many in menial non-research jobs. You can actually see that on the 18th floor is a 3-hole golf course that takes up most of the entirety of the floor. And pretty much you guys can like zoom in and look at any particular portion of the building. So at
Can
this
I just
point,
patch all this information into my navigation unit on my autobus is called the Purple Rain. I want to patch all this information. So I
sure.
have access to this when we leave.
She will provide you with all the same files, or you can just directly download it. She's fine with that too.
So I realize you want this to be a bit of a dark walk. So the question is, what do you have for us to get us past security, if anything? Or do we have to come up with all of this on our own?
Well,
I can get us past the security. I
Well,
want
we
to know
already-
something else. So
we already know what you do there. But my point is, what's the lady offering for such a big job?
all right. Brass tacks. She quotes you a sum that is, shall we say, very sizable. Each of you would end up with the equivalent of 6 exorbitant sums of money using the Cypher system. You could buy 6 exorbitantly priced items each. So like 6 mansions.
Sounds good to me.
wait. So yeah, that's fine. That just means somebody's gonna be willing to pay more. So what's this about? Why so much money? Come on, let me in on this. You owe me.
The price is the price. You don't have a buyer. I do.
You know I can find a buyer.
Would you have a buyer who knows what they've actually got?
Doesn't
Really?
matter as long as they're willing to pay however much money there's.
Most people aren't going to be able to afford what my employer is paying. And again, you'd have to find a buyer. And let's just admit it, your reputation isn't what it once was. I mean, you
Well-
can't even find all the best groups to work with you anymore after the career
Wait.
tolerance.
And anyway, Spence, come on. We already know that this is also gonna clear the slate over here for my big brother, who doesn't act like a big brother.
All right,
It's-
Shubes. Just remember, keep your eye on this one.
There is one more wrinkle that you should be aware of.
I knew there was
Yeah.
a rub somewhere.
This becomes far less valuable to your employer should the operation be uncovered by the enemy, as it were. So make sure they don't know you have it.
I have a question for you. Since this is such a dark walk, whether they know it's gone or not isn't the problem. It's just who has it, correct?
No. If it becomes known that the cryptography device has been stolen, it will compromise. Well, it will make them aware of the fact that they have been compromised. Remember, I told you that they've actually already been licensing out the use of this device. So it would make them vulnerable. They would know their vulnerabilities, and it would make their clientele vulnerable. And they might take measures to protect some things that wouldn't otherwise be protected. That's why the sum is what it is.
That makes it that much more valuable then, huh?
That's why I'm talking the kind of money I am talking.
Can't speak for the rest of you, but I need this money. Don't fuck it up. We'll do it, or I'll do it if I have to get 3 other people.
Excellent.
You
So
ain't gotta worry about this, Bear. I gotta get my brother's name back to some semblance of what it once was.
You ain't
You know,
got to
some
keep bringing
people-
it up, man.
Why
We're gonna
don't
get
I-
that
We're all
money.
in. We're all
Wait.
in 100%.
all in. Excellent. That's what I want to hear. Thank you all for coming out.
One last
Enjoy the rest of your meal.
One last
And
thing.
she gets up. Yes.
So what about equipment once we case this out, and what's the time frame in which you want it done?
It needs to be done soon. She looks at her watch, where she looks at where her watch should be, but her hand glows briefly like it's displaying numbers. Needs to be done soon. The longer this takes, the less valuable the items become. That said, if you get it done quickly enough, I can arrange for, say, $1 million bonus each. Is that incentive enough to say get it done by the end of the week?
You got it, boss.
I think everybody's on board with that. What do you think there, Spence?
Fair deal.
Connor, what do you need?
I'm good. I'm gonna go prep the Purple Rain.
If you need anything, she slides a single chip across the table. This is an expense account. It's an advance on what we're going to pay you. Basically, you guys can buy any 10 expensive items that you want.
I look at the rack. Okay, so let's finish the food, guys, and let's make some plans. And I look
Okay.
over and I say, keep that stealth net up. Somebody likes to let the world know what's going on, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Thank you.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night, Spencer. And
Good
she
evening.
leaves.
So what's
So it's just you guys in the top floor of this very expensive restaurant with basically an AI holographic maitre d hostess and little robots to come out and serve you food.
So I look over at Spencer and say, so you used to dock with her? Is that the problem?
No,
Well, at first, but that wasn't our. We're not Doc now, but no, she. I taught her what I knew, and she stabbed me in the back. Pulled my own play on me.
Gotcha.
While these guys are talking, I'm heading back to the Purple Rain, uploading all the information I have on this building. I want, for the purpose of having an asset on either an entrance or escape route, what I want to do is find all the emergency egresses on every floor. Is this, any
Okay,
key points?
so go ahead and give me an intellect roll.
Okay.
We're going to call this a difficulty 3.
I rolled some real dice here. So let me see. I definitely have stuff on my sheet that's gonna lower this. Let's see here. Sorry about this. Is navigation something I can use?
Sure.
And I have 3 intellect edge, so I'm knocking down to a 1.
Okay.
And I got a 16 on the roll.
All right. So you are in good shape. Yeah, you think you have a couple of different ways out, certainly. There is a problem. Looking at this, security is pretty top notch, and it has, unfortunately, lockdown protocols on the building. And each floor will lock down in pretty much any sort of operation of, this sort. If it comes to like gunfire and things like that, if it becomes a security issue, they will secure lock down the building.
So here's the deal with the corpses, right? Every once in a while, one of them gets a little, disgruntled. They don't mind, sometimes they're looking the other way. Sometimes they don't want to work there anymore. We need to go down there, maybe find that fella. Maybe he doesn't need his, his badge or his creds. Maybe he doesn't mind. Just one of those things. And maybe we can shut down some of the security or something like that. But I need to case the place for a little bit. Do you think, now I have some general questions. So we were told that it's in one of those big towers that are at the top, right?
Right.
The 119th floor. And we were told that there's a problem with sorry, my camera just flipped on here. Woo, I'm flying around. Woo. Exciting. All right. So, and we were told that there's certain landing bays of certain things, and those were pretty locked down.
They have some security on them, but they are probably some of the easier points of access because they're close to your target. They do have security, but it's not where the majority of the security is set up. Most of their security there is like artillery to shoot things down that get too close.
So if possible, then if that's the case, what I would like to do is try this ability, this updasher protocols.
The U-dasher?
Yeah, U-dasher protocols. And since you said it was like a small city onto itself, I want to basically, set up the protocol where both myself and I'm going to pass that same information off to Connor. So he has it. So we have absolute complete understanding of navigation in and around and through this place. So we can take full advantage of
So on your character sheet, under the U-dasher protocols, it says a certain amount of time that it takes to load.
10 hours.
10 hours. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to plug it in, let it load for 10 hours. So basically overnight. And when you wake up in the morning after you've docked it, you will basically have you'll have what you need to go and have those skills, which you could share, but only the same way you would share something you say out loud. You know, because it basically puts that knowledge into your head. It's a skill soft.
Okay, definitely. Well, I'm gonna definitely do that to be prepared.
Dean, you the hacker, right?
Yippers. I'm the hacker and tinkerer. I build and hack.
So could you also roll to see, because they said that the passcode rotates every hour. So we need something that's connected to the purple rain that's gonna give me the passcode every time when we
For
pull out.
docking. For docking. Yeah, so the other idea I have for that would be to, like along the same lines as what Spencer was saying. If Spencer can get me a card, I would take that and clone it.
Okay.
You know, a security officer's card, because somebody's always doing rounds through the place, correct?
They're usually people doing rounds, yes. Patrols is what they really call it.
So the reality of it is this: we're going to need probably no less than 3 cards if you can get your hands on them, Spencer. One for the purple rain. You know, somebody who works in the docking area, so we can get that taken care of, and then 2 security cards, because I'm more than likely have to go in with Viper, because it's definitely going to be probably, you know, he's probably going to have to get through something. We're going to need, you know, if you assembled this team like this, then his physicality is definitely going to be needed on some level there or another.
This whole time we were talking, what Viper's been eating steaks. Like, he finished that first one, ordered a second one. It's probably on his 3rd one now. And he hasn't really just been listening. And if you mention anything out loud about needing physics, like, you know, what is Viper gonna do? And he has his mouth full of steak. He's like, you know how I do. Just point in the direction that we need to go, and I'll handle it. You know, I'm real sneaky, and you know I can get in places. So anything that's locked down, I can probably get in there. And with mouth full of steak.
We're gonna need you for that safe, right? Are you the guy that's gonna crack the safe?
He finally swallows it.
Actually, it's probably going to be a combination, because like I said, I'm the tinker and it's something mechanical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then his ability to get to it and get past security protocols is what we're going to need.
All right.
So while you guys are planning at the moment, why don't we go ahead and break, since I know we need to do a 15-minute. And then we can come back and tackle some of these ideas you guys have.
That works.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, so we'll take a quick little break here, guys, for you in the audience. So we'll be back 5-10 minutes or so. Enjoy the music and enjoy our heist once we come back. Or I guess reverse heist. It should be fun. But yeah, from us at the CU, we'll see you in a little while. Be right back.